Well, are they the ones to drive the market? So there's the trainers community. There's the university community, the young people themselves, or the businesses. Who are the drivers? So I would love to have you think about something like this and say, well, you should really focus on one area. Traditionally, I'll add to it. We have been doing it the old-fashioned way. Is on personal relationships and so on. And myself being one of the co-founders, I'm the odd man out. I'm the engineer, the computer programmer. The other founders are world-renowned trainers. So they're from Singapore, the Netherlands, USA, Canada, of course, Chile, and other countries as well. So they are the trainers group. And so they have lots of experience. They work in the corporate training world and so on. So they have relationship with businesses. For example, that's how we got TikTok to be one of our customer, for example. So those are kind of things that we build. The next question is, how do we scale this? How do we, instead of talking one-on-one with companies and so on, and we only have so many people at IITTI, it's very organic. It's very solid. It's the relationship and so on, but we're very scaling very slowly. Can we make it to the next step and say, can we scale it to talk to the UNGC, UN Global Compact? It's a group of UN organizations, 10,000 company strong. So 10,000 companies, they're all wanting to have something to do with pollution, climate, social impact, and human resource development, like what we're doing. Can we talk to the 10,000 companies all at the same time? So that's why I said, the deliverable would be something like a one page, and talks about something so that conceptually I can go to the UNGC and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have something for you. And they will look at this one sheet and say, oh, yes, of course, we'll use a standard like IITTI, just like we use ISO 9000, 9001, so on. We do a lot of the heavy lifting. So all the companies don't have to repeat and reinvent the wheels in that regard. So that's the whole purpose of what I would like to achieve.
Yes, thank you so much for this explanation. And what I get from this is there's not essentially a main competitor, right? You're just like a standard, and it does not have any major competitors. Are there any other standards for the same, or if I'm getting that right, like you are the only ones providing this standard?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
There,
Now I'd like to
yeah, go ahead.
ask you about your social media team. Like currently, like do you have a team handling? Because I saw your Facebook page, also the YouTube page. I saw some of your videos, and yeah, like are you personally handling those, or like do you have a team for that?
We have people helping us. Like I said,
Mhm.
IITTI, we're all volunteers at this stage.
Okay.
So we have volunteers helping us with all the work over there. But I have to admit, our social media strategy is pretty much nil. We just have partners giving us information. Hey, Patrick, we posted something, and why don't you share on the IITTI website and so on. So all the content, as much as I want to claim I created them all, we actually created zero of them. Most of them are created by our partners. They're actually economists that are helping us out, and they see the far-reaching potential beyond the corporate training world into the other areas. So they would give us some ideas as to what we can do in the future, not just for companies, but for society, for communities, and then also to the big things like to all civilization, to our own existence in that regard. So in time, I can share that with you.
Okay. And is there like a specific objective that you want to like meet? Like for example, in 6 months, I want like this much client, or like I want this much people to use this standard. Is there like any specific goals?
Um, I always say it's very difficult to set targets. I know a lot of companies want to do that. In the entrepreneurial world, they want you to write a business plan. Sometimes, and that's good. I'm not saying that that's
Mhm.
bad. It's just that sometimes it feels a little bit. Some people feel that that's a little bit artificial. In that, I can pick a number and say, what does it really mean? Do we want? And the other thing is, do we really want to have a cutthroat culture within IITTI, just like some companies? The bottom 5% or 10% automatically get fired. And is that a good culture? I don't think so. In my previous life as an entrepreneur, we never run like that. And the company was very successful. We sold it, and a lot of people make a lot of money. A good model is, some companies, they only have about they have less than 30 people, and their market valuation is in the billions. That's the kind of company that we can create in the future. IITTI is a standard, but there could be a lot of companies that build on top of this standard. And like myself, a techie, I always use the example of the open source movement. And there's an open source software called Linux. Is comparable to Windows in some way. It's open source. It's invented by a very smart engineer from, I think, Finland, and it's free. And so IITTI is the same way. It's open standard, open source, and then people can build companies on top, just like some company called Red Hat. Red Hat built on top of Linux, and when they go public, they made a lot of money. So, as you say, well, how can that be possible? Well, that's the world. Is somebody built something open source? It's not to make money, but to change the world. And so IITTI have done that. Now I need to go into and talk to on the entrepreneurial community. So that's not only the three fronts. That's the fourth front is the entrepreneurial community. They will be the one going out to make the big bucks. They are the one who would be the unicorns to build on top of the IITTI standard. They build the services. They build the applications to serve the many parts of the world for many things, from enterprises, universities, the training communities, and also much bigger things for the government. Like I mentioned before, there are the corporate applications, the human resource, and so on, so people can earn World Civility Index. That's on the individual level. On the company level, when the employees earn points, we give them an average World Civility Index. So every company can have an average number, that single number there. That number is very important because they can put it into their report. Historically, every company needs to do well because they need to make money. So they have balance sheets and all that annual report. Nowadays, they need to show what their values are. They need to show the world. And there's something called corporate social responsibility, CSR, corporate social responsibility. So in the traditional sense, they need to have the balance sheets and making money to do well. Now they also need to show that they're doing good. So doing well and doing good at the same time. That's the balance sheets, the profit loss, and all that. Doing good is the corporate social responsibility. Nowadays, the evolution is have a terminology called ESG. I think I mentioned that a little bit. That the ESG is what they need to put into the do good report. And ESG is environment, social impact, and governance. So we are into the social impact, the human capital development, developing people so they feel safe, they feel respected, they are not discriminated against, so on and so forth. So that's wellness, humanity wellness in that regard. And the number I talked about, the World Civility Index average, company average, is because it's from us. It's not from the company themselves. If it is from the company, they can cook up any numbers they want, and people don't believe it. The investors and so on. That's why there's a term called greenwashing. If a company is being labeled as greenwashing, they are in big trouble because the investors, especially institutional investors like BlackRock, the most popular one with trillions of dollars under their management, they may not invest in you if you are being labeled as greenwashing. You're exaggerating. Oh yeah, we went out and built an orphanage and we cleaned up the shoreline. Well, how do you prove something like this? So now with the World Civility Index, that number there is worth gold for them because it's from us, it's from a neutral third party, unbiased. We don't care who you are, if you're Tesla or Elon Musk or King of England. If you don't read an article or watch the videos and earn points, you're not going to get any points. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. So that is the credibility, is that we are not swayed by, oh, people paying us a lot of money, so we're going to give them some points. No, we don't work like that, right? So that number can help companies build their reputation, build their credibility, in that our numbers are really strong. We actually have our employees learning about how to be better mannered, how to have empathy, how to have intercultural awareness, and all that over a long period of time. It's not just one day. So those are a kind of persuasion that a company can have. And by that, say if they give training companies and IITTI $1 million for such training for their employees, say 300,000 employees at Aramco, the biggest oil company. They spend $1 million, okay? And their stock prices go up by 1%. 1% of a multinational billion-dollar company could worth something like $10-20 million. So by investing $1 million and they have a return on their stock prices going up by $10-20 million, you can tell me what the ROI is, the return on investment. Is a no-brainer in that regard. So that's an easy sell. Once companies learn about that, it's a very easy, not difficult sell, relatively, because the logistics, the fundamentals are all there. There are inertia in companies. Companies say, oh well, they still think about it, but it's not like they say, wow, this is totally irrelevant. No. This is very relevant to what they need to do. We are very ahead of the time. Most companies are not there yet. Most companies, when they talk about ESG, the social impact, they talk about, oh, how many black women they're hiring, the wage between male and female, and so on. Just the numbers from one or two managers. And so it's not really a lot of social impact. Whereas the World Civility Index, unless employees, all the rank and file, start to earn points and so on, their average is going to look horrible. So I use Aramco again. They are not our customer yet. They have 300,000 employees. Every employee needs to earn points so that their average will look decent in that regard. And that means every employee has to participate in that regard. So it's a very different game we're talking about. They need to do a lot of work so that they can get to up to that point there.
So one of our group mates just left because he has a class. Asmit, ask for the question.
Most of the things that we wanted from the meeting uh, that will contribute a lot to our project as well. And the last question that we have is about the budget and budget and resources. How much do you have separated or allocated for the social media optimization of your for this project? Like when we are making a proposal, then we have to take that things into consideration as well. So what are the things that we should assume before getting into the matters?
Yeah, budget. Like I mentioned before, IITTI, we are cash positive, so we actually make money, but we put it into a piggy bank. We put it into a fund, The reason being is, like I said, IITTI, all of us are volunteers. I'm a volunteer for the last 14 years. I collect zero salary and so on because I sold a company before this, my previous life, and so we have a little bit of money and so on. But the thing is, though, if I retire someday or if I die, the next CEO that comes in probably is a younger guy, and that young person may not have that luxury of saying, "Well, I don't need to be paid." So we have set up a system so that in the future there needs to be a skeletal staff, and they would need to be paid. And so we build up the money there so the company, the nonprofit organization can be sustainable in a long way. So we do have some money, but now our marketing is very, very simple. It's just that I go to trade shows, I go to conferences to meet with trainers. So there are training companies and trainers like image consultants and so on. They have meetings and so on. So I go there, I rub shoulders with them, so saying hi, so they know who we are. And they are the training companies who use the World Civility Index standard in many different countries now. So that's our success, yeah, so far. But in the future, I would love to entertain, how do we have a budget to maybe make our website look more modern for young people. Right now, we got criticized as saying, the website looks like it's a government website. It looks really bad. So we now, but I'm holding my breath to say that maybe someday AI will be smart enough, and I can just type in, well, make my website look a little bit better, and then bang, they have a solution for me in 5 seconds. I don't know, maybe I'm wishful thinking, but those are the kind of things. The social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, that's what we're on, and YouTube. And people are criticizing me, saying, Patrick, why are you not on Instagram? Why are you not on TikTok? And so on. TikTok is a customer, for crying out loud. You should be on TikTok. And I go, I don't know how. I'm just, well, don't call me lazy, okay? I'm very busy because IITTI has to really capture the big things before it can become popular. Because if we just say that, well, as a young person, you should really earn some points, young people will say, why should I earn this kind of weird World Civility Index? Nobody's using it, right? Well, now, there are only maybe 100 companies around the world who knows about IITTI. That's a drop in the bucket. As much as TikTok or Volkswagen or something is using it, it's still a drop in the bucket of the millions of companies. The world's a big place. So it is really an unknown entity. But when we talk to governments, when we talk to universities, they are very different. They look at life as much longer cycles, and they say, well, no, what happened when there's an ESG requirement? Stock exchange now, they have an ESG requirement. So that means a lot of stock exchange around the world are saying that all listed company under my jurisdiction, under my region, need to have an ESG report. So companies are scrambling. They say, well, what do we do? And so on. So we have a good solution for at least the S, the social impact for the ESG. They can use something like this. And we do all the heavy lifting. They just have to fork out the money, and the employees do the learning, do all the work, and so on. It is possible. Now, that's the second level. The first level is the individual. Second level is the company. The third level is the society, the community. And something like this is called UBI. I may have mentioned that a little bit. It's called the Universal Basic Income. That is going to come about when AI takes over, when artificial intelligence takes over in your lifetime. Definitely. Even in my lifetime, even though I may be gone in not too long from now, in 5 years, in 10 years, AI is going to take over in a big way. And so most of us will be unemployed in the traditional sense. But then there are many, many new opportunities coming up. So universities and government are already thinking that, and I'm very, very happy IITTI is part of that wheel in turning. And so when UBI kicks in, how can they say, well, now we're going to create a lot of lazy people? If everybody get paid without work, we're going to have a lot of lazy people. And so we raise our hands and say, well, some economists help us raise our hands and say, the World Civility Index can help. Because in the new world, it's not about the lawyers, the accountants, the engineers who are going to be making the big bucks. Most of those jobs will be replaced by a robot or replaced by something like ChatGPT. And the new jobs are going to be human-centered, humanity-centered. It will be about people taking care of each other, caring for one another, empathy, and so on. Those are the new products and services that will be created in the new world order. But how do you promote, encourage people to have more empathy, to love one another? Well, that's where the World Civility Index comes in. When people earn points and so on average, they do become more empathetic. That's what all the academic research have done in supporting something like this. So by having the World Civility Index helping UBI to be a graduated scale. So it's not a one size fits all. There are people who can earn more income when they earn more points of World Civility Index in that regard. So that is the societal effect. So there are three levels in that, and I've just covered them. And that's why, my work is very busy, because I'm working on the very top layer in that. This is the ultimate holy grail in that we want the World Civility Index to be able to communicate to the world. And also on the second layer is that ESG part. The ESG community have to accept what we do, take it to the next level of ESG. Like I said, ESG right now is very primitive. It's ESG 1.0, but can we have ESG 2.0 that they incorporate the World Civility Index as part of their measurements in around the world? So we're talking about millions of companies in.
And so talking about the ESG and other kind of stuffs, the AI is developing at a rapid pace, and it will eventually get there to the point that you just talked about. So someday we will be able to do a lot of stuffs, and I think there will be no need for teachers and a lot of employers, because the AIs will be taking over. But have you ever thought about expanding your digital presence with the help of other agencies, or outsourcing your social media jobs to any other team, so that you can build your influence? Because we've been talking about the targeted audience, and one of the major targeted audience is the university students. So there's a lot of people in when it comes to university students, and in order to reach them in the best way possible in this current scenario, I think social medias like Instagram and also LinkedIn, Indeed, that kind of things will be very important while reaching them and educating them about the standards that you were focusing on. So what are your thoughts on outsourcing, or let's say building your social presence in different social media, so that you can reach each and so that you can not only reach the trainers and the universities and the employers, but also the university students who want to be trained? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. With Professor Sakharov, we talk about something like this. There are talks in previous classes. They talk about, hey, Patrick, you can perhaps think about an ambassador program with university students, so that they will all be volunteers. They will be earning brownie points, as well as different perks and benefits, and they can go out and have ambassadorship at the university level, in different schools, and maybe even set up some kind of micro credentialing within the schools, of course with the blessing of the universities and so on. They are all possible, I suppose. So how do we set up that infrastructure? I think that would be the $1 million question. Is for ambassadorship, what would be the terms of expectations? What should we expect, or what should they expect? So on both sides, the IITTI and also from the ambassadors, the students' point of view, what do they get out of it? I think that is the major thing that I would welcome this kind of discussion in that regard. In that one pager, the one page, giving it to say your fellow students at the UCW, and try to say, hey, this is something that is important for all young people
What of
all around the world. Yeah.
not really get so, but further talking about this extending our topic. So have you ever thought about using search engine optimizations or boosting the posts from Facebook, like LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram, like boosting and reaching a certain number of audience?
Very good question. Now, if I asked you, SEO, I know, search engine optimization. I'm thinking we are already optimized, because the phrase that I want to capture is soft skill standard. It's not soft skill training. We don't do training. It's not soft skill certification. Every training companies and schools and so on, they have a certificate, but these are all fragmented. It's all fragmented market, in that Stanford University, as good as it is, they have this soft skill training program, but most of the millions of human resource people around the world, they don't know the Stanford standard, or the UCW standard, or McGill standard, or MIT standards. They don't know that, and so it becomes very fragmented. Whereas if everybody from Stanford to UCW to training companies, um, if they can have another layer that have this World Civility Index standard, then human resource people will say, this program is 10 points. They have some rough estimate, some idea as to how big that program is. If a program is worth 30 points versus another program that is worth 3 points, it's not because they're different, good quality and bad quality, but because of the size of the program. One program may be, 3 months and so on. The 3 point program may be just an hour or something like that. They have some idea. So your person get 300 points World Civility Index. The human resource person has some idea that, well, this person has gone through quite a bit. Whereas if somebody just earned 3 points, well, this guy is just beginning, is just starting out, and so on. It gives the whole world a standard to work on. That is the value of the IITTI. We don't claim credit for the quality of the training program. That is a different story. And for that, we have a vetting committee. That's the value add for the IITTI. We have an independent international vetting committee, people from around the world who are authority to look at all the content that are allowed to earn the World Civility Index. So the vetting committee is the almighty. They are the one who make sure there's a certain quality standard in that regard.
And so now that we know what we are working uh, now that we know what we are working for, now you are expecting us to build a proposal on something or for this project that will help the normal students, or let's say the normal audience, become aware about the industries that you are focusing on, not just the soft skills, but those standards to measure or let's say the standardize the level of soft skills. This is so that will be the bottom line of for our project, right?
I think so. I think when people understand what a standard can do, the power of a standard, they would appreciate more. I think that's the ultimate reward they will get by following a standard, and not just a high quality training program. So those are both important criteria. The quality allows you to really learn something, but the standard allow you to show to the world that I have those standards in that regard.
Yeah, this conversation really gave me an idea, because I've been searching about a lot of courses, but I've never looked for the standards of those courses and some certifications. So that was an eye opener for me. And my friend Nam here has a question for you. So I'll be muting myself. So Nam, please go ahead.
Uh, Hello, Patrick. So my question to you is like, do you feel like your marketing team is doing a good job showing what IITTI is about? IITTI is about, And how do you make sure that the message stays true to your mission?
It's similar to what you and I are talking about. There's no fancy PowerPoints or any kind of structure. At the end of the day, it's really about people seeing the vision, and then they can do a lot of their work. So my job is to really show the endpoint, and then they can show their innovation, and a lot of them, really surprise me in how innovative they are, and make IITTI very successful. IITTI so far in 14 years, we have spent very little on our own in terms of achieving what we have. I may have mentioned that we got invited by the United Nations to be part of their official partners in 2019 in their Department of Economic and Social Affairs, DESA or DISA department, as official partner of their sustainable development. Sustainable development, SD, Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, is a big thing. A lot of companies remember the social responsibility. In social responsibility, all the millions of companies who needs to have show they're doing good, they focus on the UN SDGs. You can call that as the ultimate standard. UN Sustainable Development Goals. They say, well, there are poverty, there are climate, there are education, I think there's something like 16, 17 goals. So companies focus on that as something they can go and achieve in budget, basically, but we achieving, we become the United Nations in that regard. I may have also mentioned that there are two other very prominent organizations around the world that we got invited into. The first one is called the Presencing Institute. Presence as in now. So it's focused on your surrounding, the people around you. You should love them, treasure them, and so on. Presencing Institute is run by a professor from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. So it's an MIT arm called Presencing Institute, and we got invited. I think they invited every year 200 organizations around the world to sit in the same room and solve world problem, really difficult world problems. So they talk about different things. They realize, hey, MIT, they are a bunch of very smart engineers and scientists, and they're talking about empathy now. They're talking about caring for one another, presence, sensing, feeling, communicating. I myself is an engineer, and I can tell you in my days when I was trained, there was nothing like this. It's all about thermodynamics and calculus and all that. But Presencing Institute, the first thing they do in every meeting is 1 minute meditation, guys. Okay, these are the MIT guys saying, well, we should do meditation. So this is a new types of engineer, but that's the point. Very smart institution like MIT and so on, they realize it's not the technology that would solve humanity's problem. In fact, it is going to pull it further and further apart. So we need to really have something that props up the humanity side. So technology like AI and all that are up there. We need to rise at the same speed. Otherwise, it's going to be further down. So that's one institute. Another one is IDG, Inner Development Goals. And you say, oh, Inner Development Goals, Patrick, it sounds so much like the UN SDG. IDG, SDG, you're absolutely right. They're related. The SDG, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, have already been declared, reported by UN themselves. They are 85% behind schedule. 85% behind schedule. So in the UN, last year, General Secretary Antonio Guterres reported that in an open report. Everybody can read it. You can search it online. They have a 15-year goal from 2015 to 2030. 15 years for the SDGs. the sustainable development goals to achieve certain level. Last year was halfway, and halfway they said we are 85% behind schedule. So when the Presidency Institute talks about, what works before technology is not enough, they have a reason, because SDG is 85% behind schedule. And this second organization I talked about, the IDG, Inner Development Goals, their argument is unless you develop the inside, unless people are feeling safe, respected, not being discriminated against, and so on, they don't have the mind, the mental space to think about the bigger things like climate change and environment and so on. So it's the inside going out. That's why they call it the inner development. And they had something like 10,000 professors and scientists and so on at the beginning to create this framework, this whole framework of IDG, Inner Development Goals. And now they have 30,000 members, over 100 different hubs around the world. And I'm very happy they invited us. And they are going, the IDG is writing a book, the Harvard IDG is writing a book. And one of the chapters is about the World Civility Index, is about us in that regard. The reason being is, we are very small. IDG is already like 30,000 people, and so on, and very influential group here. They have this massive framework of content. With the World Civility Index, they help us say, Patrick, you help us quantify the IDG. So the World Civility Index put a number on it. So I said, well, I'm a measurement guy. I'm an engineer, so I measure things. So they say, well, with all the trainings and so on, with the IDG and so on, how do we measure it? That's where the World Civility Index can come in. And so my day job, I'm very busy because I'm working with the United Nations, the MIT, the Harvard universities, and so on, so that we can create this kind of marketing in that regard.
So please continue.
For the final question, I'd like to ask, what kind of deliveries are you expecting from us, like campaign ideas or rollout plans? And how often would you like updates and check-ins? And are there branding messaging guidelines we must follow?
Okay, this is what I'm thinking when I'm talking to you here. It seems like you guys are at the UCW. You guys work with a lot of young people, and well, you guys are young, so by default, you're my market, okay? And why don't you write a one pager to talk about what an ambassadorship program would look like? An ambassadorship program for all universities, not just UCW. UCW could be the ground zero, to be the very, very beginning point. You can hit up on your professors and so on to say, why don't we have a micro-credentialing program at UCW? And all the students would have to go through some kind of soft skill training before they graduate. That would set a real cool precedent in the university world, from a small university, a new university, and that would put UCW on the map, so to speak, and say, well, UCW see the point in that it's not just the finance, the engineering, the MBA, and so on that would make it into the new world, but it's really about the humanity side that would allow UCW students to stand out in the crowd, that employers would say, oh, UCW students, we heard about you. You guys are the one that started this whole humanity thing and so on. I would love to talk to you and say, how can you help our companies build better products and services based on human? And when AI comes in, our company is going to survive and thrive because you have this kind of awareness in that regard. So there's a lot of new industry. When I talk to the Presidency Institute of MIT and the IDG of Harvard, We already talk about in the new world order, what are some of the new careers? There are some exciting career coming up that are, it's not, you don't hear about it now. People are very, we focus on the next shiny object. The current shiny object is AI, okay? But AI is going to be one of the things, we will take it for granted. But when AI takes over, the main questions that nobody is asking now is, what are we going to do with 7 billion, 8 billion friends around the world? Most of us will be unemployed. Are we going to have a lot of mental issues? Because we have all been trained, educated to see work as our identity. Work is so important. When nobody has to work anymore in the traditional sense, what are we going to do? And this Presencing Institute, with their collaboration and so on, and the IDG collaboration, and also with the UN, they already think about things like that. Is what happened afterwards? What happened when AI is there, and most of us will be unemployed, not employed in the traditional sense? There are exciting jobs coming, and so how can we tell the world about something like this? And so with universities, with young students already prepare, we are preparing a pipeline for humanity to survive in the future. So that's big. That is, we're talking about civilization surviving. It's an existential issue that we're talking about, that an ambassador group can be the ground to make sure that we are going to survive. We're at a juncture here. We can go one way or the other. We can fight each other and tear each other apart, like we are doing now in the wars and so on. But the other way is we can have utopia. We can care about one another. We can have a society where nobody got left behind. Nobody. That's the difference between soft skills and hard skills. With hard skills, like in engineering, like my profession here, there will be winners and losers. Companies will have winners and losers. And if you can solve the differential equation faster than I can, you win. I lose. Very simple. There's no two ways about it. Either you know it or you don't. That's hard skill. Soft skill is very different. Soft skill is not about here. Soft skill is about your emotion, your heart. It's a very different kind of education. And you can't have people left behind, because what happened to people who are left behind? They have mental issues. They go out and run people over at a festival. That is the situation. You know what I'm talking about. This guy running over, I think, what, 12 people dead and so on. Why is that? That's because they got left behind by whatever it is. That is only the tip of the iceberg. There are many, many issues, societal issues, homelessness and all that, child abuse, all that kind of things happen because upstream there are issues that has not been solved. So we try to say we try to solve a lot of issue upstream. Ambassadorship program is an upstream program that we are paving the way for many things down the road that is going to be much smoother in that sense. So that is the vision. And when young people can see that, they can come to you and I and say, wow, hey, UCW, Patrick, we think we can do something like this. And there are already young people who are already thinking like that. And so the ball is already rolling. But how can we have this communication piece, this one page that would allow a normal university students around the world to see, oh, hey, this is the way. This is, I wouldn't say spiritual, but this is the way to the future that they can benefit in more ways than one.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. We're very inspired by the vision and excited about the possibilities for IITT's marketing presence. So thank you so much. We're sorry we have to end our meeting here for today. So we will try to keep in touch with you again.
All right. So, okay. Anything else? Just let me know. We can chat again.
Yeah, we will send you an email if anything comes up, like we have questions.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Have
Yes,
fun.
thank you so much for your time. Thank you.